What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Properties and Pour-Overs podcast. My name is Adam Colburn, and today I've got a special guest, my buddy Mike Davis. What's going on, Mike?
What's going on, big dog? How you doing, man?
Good, man. Good. Appreciate you coming in and being willing to share your story. So, just to get started, to try to introduce yourself to the listeners, can you tell me where you're located in the country and what your business looks like currently?
Yeah, man. I'm in Baltimore, Maryland right now.
Okay.
We do business-wise. I don't know most people in the Subto space. If you guys are listening to Subto, most people know me as a Subto car guy. So we do a lot of creative finance deals with cars, trucks, boats, RVs, small planes, things like that.
Yeah.
Still do real estate. I'm a closer. Call me if you need help on any deals or anything like that. Of course, we're also looking to buy, but primarily we service to people with just helping navigate this new economy using creative finance to your advantage to help you get in and out of vehicles.
Love it, dude. I love it. And so, how long have you been in the space? Because I assume you started in real estate first and then transitioned to the vehicles, but maybe I'm wrong. Like, how long have you been in this? I guess just entrepreneur space.
Yeah. No, I mean, you hit it on the head. I started in real estate beginning of 2020. Got the
Okay.
LLC, just dove in.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Took a long time to get my first wholesale deal. That was what I started with,
Yeah.
buying lists, cold calling, doing all that kind of stuff like that, door knocking, everything in between. Took me about 8 months to get my first deal, but it like made sense. It was YouTube University and just taking action. But
Totally.
ultimately ended up finding out about Pace like a year and some change into the journey of just entrepreneurship. Had
Yeah.
to go through a lot of stuff, the journey, like changing your mindset, getting different habits, that kind of thing. But surrounding
Totally.
yourself with the right kind of people was what happened when I found out about Pace.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
you know what I'm saying? And eventually, ended up using his YouTube stuff to close a creative deal outside of Sub2 and then use that money to join Sub2. And then from there, it just kind of kept going. So,
Love it.
uh, the transition to cars happened organically. If anybody knows, Pace will use the story of the F-150 all the time to try to make it simple as how creative finance is with houses.
Sure.
Talks about the F-150 story, man. Was
Mm-hmm.
sitting on the lot, needed to go, and he wanted a certain number. Everybody was lowballing him. He was like, man, screw that. This is what I want. Laura was like, this thing needs to get off of my lot. So,
Right.
she suggested, just sell it for more money and take payments. It was simple for him. He did it. He sold it for a lot more money. He uses that to talk about how simple it is to explain creative finance and the benefits for individuals with real estate, right?
Right.
But he never really like went much further on the cars, right? So he would
Sure.
always do anything. But what he did do, which was I think a super gem for all of us, he's a super go giver and always gives us process, contracts, everything, right? He pays all
Yeah.
that stuff. So I think it was 2022 he dropped the docs in the sub two page.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't explain anything about it. Just said I'll talk about this later. And at
Right.
that time, I needed a car. So
Yeah.
cash rich, credit poor. You know how it goes. Wholesaling houses all over the country was a fun time, but credit,
Sure.
I wasn't about to pay something crazy at a dealership. So,
Right.
long story short, I took the docs, reverse engineered it, you know what I'm saying? Looked up everything and started calling around insurance companies and DMVs, learning the process as to like how you can actually do this.
Yeah.
And got mixed stuff, but ultimately there was like a path, but it had to be done a certain kind of way.
Sure.
And I tried it. I tried going out and finding opportunities, and I couldn't find a doggone thing. So I ended up having to still get a car. I went to a dealership, got a bad loan. But 3 days later, I went to a Sub2 meetup down in Orange County, and my guy Richard knows we had a conversation after the meetup. We were talking about, just everything that Paige's been doing in Sub2 and stuff like that. And we talked about the car docs. And I was like, bro, I really needed a car. I couldn't find one, but it's crazy you can do this with cars, just like we talk about with anything, right?
Right.
He was like, bro, why don't you check the Turo groups? Because at that time, I didn't realize like how much the car market had shifted, how much the economy was going in the
Yeah.
reverse. This is after the pandemic when everything was high,
Sure.
but then stuff started going down and interest rates started going up. So a
Mm.
lot of people were exiting, and there were plenty of people who got into the Turo space or rental space, period, with a whole bunch of personal loans and high prices. And now they
Right.
needed to sell, they were stuck. So it was a
Yeah.
pain point that was so simple. I was like, oh my, why didn't I think of that? Went back home, made a post in one of the Turo groups, and it just went viral immediately.
Oh,
I was like,
wow.
dang, like this is okay. So you know what I'm saying? And I mean,
Yeah.
exotic cars to basic cars, everything in between. It was like, yo, take my payments. I don't care.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's insane. So that's when we realized it was like a real problem. Closed a
Mm-hmm.
couple of people, went and found buyers, made a post in the buyer group, did the same thing, viral. And I realized that it was much more than me. I'm not the only person with this problem that doesn't want to, go get a loan. And I'm also not the only person who thought of like giving somebody a payment. So we realized it was a problem, started really working it. And, a couple years later, now we service hundreds of deals and help out thousands of people.
That's insane, man. What a growth. And like a perfect in like finding that problem and then
Mhm.
immediately taking action to figure out the solution. Like I love that, dude. But
Yeah.
we have very similar like origin stories, right? For me, same thing, jumping into wholesale. It took me 8 months to close my first deal too.
Yeah.
Not without trying. I know we were both out there hustling and trying to just figure it out, but we don't know what we don't know, right? And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
yeah, getting in the space and specifically like in the Subto community, I mean, that exploded my growth. It sounds like it was similar for you.
Mhm.
And so, as far like I know, cars are your main focus. You're still doing some real estate. Are you more of like a buy and hold investor? Or are you guys doing flips? Like on that side, we'll get more into the car stuff, but like from a real estate perspective, like what type of investments are you getting into?
Yeah, so right now I'm focused on buying homes for co-living.
Okay.
I sell wholesale and like close deals, so I can close anywhere.
Hmm.
Somebody the deal, that kind of thing will just contract kill. But for my investment, I'm looking to hold as many creative deals as possible. We want to try to primarily two things. One for like behavioral health
Yeah.
ultimately, but
Hmm.
the normal space of just rentals.
Got it.
Co-living, the economy needs it, and we all understand the writing's on the wall. You know what
For
I'm saying?
sure. Yeah, well, and I mean, and all these things that we're chasing, right? I think affordability is a huge piece of it, and so co-living, me specifically, I focus on sober living, so
Yep.
similar situation, but just different type of avatar.
Yep.
But yeah, it's a huge need across the country, and so if we can kind of pick up that mantle and run with it, try to
Yep.
make an impact in the community while also doing well for us and our families, like there's nothing better to do, right? And so, so I mean, you pivot to the car stuff, you find this niche and quickly become like the sub two car guy.
Mhm.
Like as that was growing and scaling, like what did that look like? I'm sure there were some hurdles because this is all like unknown territory for you. Like,
Yeah.
are you still just like a solo operator? Do you have a team behind you? Like how has that scaling process gone from 2020 to now 2025, closing hundreds of deals?
Yeah. We started, so I started it solo in like 2022, just
Okay,
learning
got
the
it.
process and, making a bunch of mistakes. This is what we talk about with the entrepreneur journey, right?
Yeah.
Just not being scared to fail. Screw it. Let's try it, see what happens. Shoot first, ask questions later. And, kind of throughout the process, I realized that the people that we were helping, they kept telling other people, and we just needed more and more people. So I would get more and more business coming in. Realize you can't do this stuff on your own. So we ended up ultimately getting a team. We do have a few top tier TCs on our team. We got developers for a platform that we have. Got a business partner that helps with the marketplace that we've launched specifically for sub two vehicles, as
Yeah.
well as like everything down the line. So can't go far, alone, bro. Definitely got to have
Right.
that
A
together.
1000%. Yeah. I mean, delegating and just like that old adage, who, not how, right? Like you don't have to be the one that has your hands on every single piece of the business. If you are, you're not going to grow very fast or you're
Right.
just going to lose your mind. Right. And so,
100%, bro.
yeah. So like being able to delegate and hand it off to somebody that's as good, if not better than you at that specific task. And then you can focus on your big money making activities. Like you mentioned, just closing the deals, solving the problems, and then passing off the TC work or finding the buyers to somebody else is huge. And then everybody gets a piece of the pie. Right. And so,
100%.
I think that's one of the biggest things that I love about our community is that everyone's so collaborative and figuring out ways to insert other folks into the deals, right? And that's how like these friendships grow. And it's like there's nothing better than making money with your friends, right? Like it's super fun. And so that's awesome, man. So I mean, obviously, I'm sure there's been some challenges, right? We're talking through like figuring out navigating this space. Is there like a specific kind of like pinch point in your business as you were growing, whether it be on the real estate side or the car side, that like took a big loss, something happened to you, a big hurdle in your business? Like, how did you overcome that, and kind of what was your mindset around getting around that issue?
I mean, I would probably say twofold, two separate things. Like externally, I would think trying to have a space where people can go without you being there. Being the bottleneck in your business is the worst thing you can do. If everybody has to go through you, you're done.
Sure.
So you have to like that turning point where the profit would meet the ability to hire people
Hmm.
while figuring out how to build the plane as you're flying it, like that kind of stuff, everything kind of happening all at one time.
Yeah.
That spawned the idea like, hey, we need to build an app, or hey, what I'm saying? We need to make a marketplace so that people can just come and do that. So that was a journey in and of itself to not only find the people capable, but then execute it.
Hmm.
And knowing that it's not perfection, just going with it and being able
Yeah.
to continue to tweak and things like that. So it makes the whole process easier. And then you start to realize like, oh, this is how Uber was made. This is how Airbnb was done. This is how, what I'm saying, any of these soft services are done. They just
Yeah.
start with it and then they realize everybody needs that problem solved. So then they build a platform and they go. So I think that's probably one of our big like external hurdle that we're actively still, what I'm saying, like building on it. But we definitely
Hmm.
crossed the path um towards the end of last year. And we continue to build. I think something internally is mindset, bro. Like that's probably like the biggest obstacle and hurdle of all time. You
For
know what I'm saying?
sure.
Going into a space where we in a community where there's a lot of winners. It's a lot of folks that, we see checks all the time. We use it for motivation
Right.
too. I love it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Somebody got a check 25, 55, 85,000, 200,000, 300,000 just for a check, right? And you just like, damn, this thing over here, they're small ticket items. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
it was 1,000, 2,000, 4,000. You just like, man. So you get to not only compare where your progress is and like, hey, I have these same opportunities everybody else does. You have
Hmm.
to continue to believe in what you're doing.
Yeah.
And also just knowing that you are like this is uncharted territory. So you
Right.
feel like that imposter, like, damn, I don't even, this hasn't really been done before. You know what I'm saying? Like you get kind of scared and you get kind of shouting yourself. And
Totally.
like that mindset, bro, you just gotta be like, man, screw that. I don't know if we can cuss on here or whatever, but you know what I'm saying? Just like, bro, you just gotta keep on going. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's believe, had a faith in the one who gave you life and the confidence that you have in the work that you continue to put in. Just keep on going. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
That's probably something that for me, a lot of challenges came up to just like, man, screw this, screw this, screw this.
Right.
I mean, you just gotta keep going.
Yeah, no, dude, I love that. And well, and especially like you mentioned, like when you're becoming the disruptor in the space, the trailblazer, you have
Mhm.
nothing to fall back on or somebody to kind of look at for direction. Like you're just trying to figure it out. And so I feel like imposter syndrome would be even more because like nobody's done this. Why me? Like how am
Right,
I qualified to do this thing, right? And so it's one thing when yeah, people are flashing their big checks and making wins and stuff, which like yeah, that's motivating it or it should be at least, right? If you have that entrepreneur mindset, it's like I can go do that too, right? I like to call it borrowed belief, right?
right,
If I can't believe in myself, I'm going to take Mike's belief because I can see he's doing the thing.
right,
What does he have that I don't have, right? To go and
right.
do that. But when you're in this uncharted territory, I think yeah, that could be rough on people's mindset if you don't have that super clear, concise vision on what you're trying to get to, and it goes back to that who not how, right? How am I going to get there? Well, I just got to find the who. Who's going to
Hmm.
put these things in place for me? And so, dude, I love that. So good. So I know you said that you jumped into real estate in 2020, but I mean, it seems like you've been a hustler for a long time, right? Do you think that entrepreneurship was just like a trait that came naturally to you? Like what did your like early childhood look like? Were you bouncing around different businesses? Were you a salesman? Kind of I feel like a lot of the guys that I talk to on this podcast is just like back in school they were like slinging gum or candy or something, right? Like cutting lawns and things. And it's just like it seems like there's a common thread between a lot of entrepreneurs of just like they want
Yeah.
to go out and get it early on. Was that something for you, or is there like a switch that flipped in your brain that's like now I don't want to be like a number on a spreadsheet. I want to go and get it for myself.
That's hilarious. That's a good question too. And the funny thing you talk about slinging candy and stuff like that. I definitely used to sling candy in school just for the hell of it.
Yeah, dude, absolutely.
But nah, like it was fun. It was crazy because we used to steal all the candy and then sell it. It was cool. It's like I
Yo,
was doing
100% margins.
all profit. You feel me? Like all profit, bro. Hit up the dollar store, walk out with a whole doggone shelf. But
That's
but uh, but yeah, no, what's crazy too. So like I'm naturally a musician, right? So that's like my gift, and
yeah,
that was is like my path and things like that. And I've had some success in the industry, and I never wanted to really do anything else. And obviously, that kind of space you don't have any fallback. There's no other skills behind it,
right.
right? So working like just having a job, you know what I'm saying? Like I think during high school I was working, and then after high school I was working. But I would get into sales jobs and things like that. I used to do door-to-door sales. Like I got trained, I was trash, but got trained up by a great mentor, probably like 18, 19, something like that. And it took those skills and just built on them. Always
Yeah.
had hustle to try to improve whatever skill I was doing.
Right.
But that was the fallback of just like sales. You eat what you
Mm-hmm.
kill. It was always for
Absolutely.
the companies though. So it got to the space where I was still an employee, still like limited in what was possible. And I think ultimately the shift for me pre 2020 was I was working at a fintech company. Basically, it was a startup business funding company in Beverly Hills,
Okay.
and at that time, the promise was amazing, but I was sacrificing a whole lot to even
Sure.
show like hours and hours long commute towards and back just to
Mm.
get there for the promise of like, okay, cool, you go from opener to closer. Opener is like 60 grand, closer is a $250,000. So I'm like, all right, cool. I'm
Right.
a closer at heart. I can earn that too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So long story short, they played with me. And at that time, I was like, you know what? This is the last opportunity. This is the last time I'm gonna let anybody else tell me how much I'm gonna be able to make, how much I'm worth, what it is. And then that's where the switch really flipped for me because it's like I'm not working for another company.
Yeah.
Music isn't like in the space where I wanted to go.
Mm-hmm.
I just you know what I'm saying, like ball up, balls to the wall.
Sure.
So that was kind of where the that double down was. But it was kind of, like there as a younger because I ain't never really see myself doing anything corporate or
Right.
anything. Right?
Yeah, traditional, just 9 to 5, clocking in for 40 years and then going sipping Mai
Yeah.
Tais on the beach, right? You want more for yourself. And I feel like most of us do, right? And that's why we're willing to work 100 hours a week for ourselves rather than 40 hours for some big company, right? And
Yeah.
then be able to be where we want with who we want when we want, right? And so having that freedom of time and your schedule is huge.
Yeah.
I love that, dude. That's awesome.
A lot harder too. Like it's a lot harder up front, but when you finally crack it, like
Right.
it's definitely gonna be worth it. You know what I'm
For
saying?
sure, yeah. Well, and yeah, it's super rewarding, right? Because you were the one that went and did the thing, right? Because that so many people wish that they did or
Hmm.
want to do, but are too afraid to go and try because they don't
Yep.
want to fail. Like
I don't
failure
want to
is
fail.
right.
Hmm.
Failure is an expectation, right? And so, um, I mean, as far as like future goals and stuff like that in the car space, like or in real estate in general, other businesses, like what does that look like for the next 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, I think the one thing I don't want people to attach to me too much. Your camera just jumped off too, bro. But I don't want people to attach too much is to think that I'm just about cars. Like I understand creative finance now, especially thanks to Pace, but just thanks to the space and entrepreneurs that give us the game. Like I understand that, and I want to help build the ecosystem for it.
Yeah,
So our platform, sellerfinance.io, me and my partner Vitali, our vision is to provide the hub for vehicles, real estate, business, like all of the major asset classes for creative finance. So everything that you can do as far as transactions, how to get them done, the affiliates, as far as the lawyers, the title companies, the TCs, the processes, everything, like kind of all in a space where, say, if you want to start a business, you need some equipment and you need a property to do it. It's all right there. Terms are already done. The funds are already there. Like everything is already there. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Especially in the world of AI where we need to be able to act much faster because we
right.
up against the machine that is way faster than us. You know what I'm
For
saying?
sure, yeah.
For the action takers, for the people that's like, all right, nah, screw, I ain't gonna let these machines beat me. I'm still gonna
Yeah.
keep hustling. You know what I'm saying? Like we
Yeah.
want that hub space where it's like, all right, cool, it's an easy call. You can come here, these are the connects, these are everything. And that's what our vision is. So ultimately, like my goal is to provide the platform, the space, the community for people to come in, do business the right way, be educated on how to do it, you know what I mean, and get whatever it is that they want and never look at anything traditional again. Because break the system, because the system ain't finna break us. You feel me?
Right. Dude, I love that, dude. It's like one-stop shop, like business incubator, right? For every industry that you could think of, you come here and you can like ground up make an entire new empire, right? And you're the one that's kind of pulling the levers to make that happen. That's sick, dude. I love that. That's super cool. Um, Wow, that's super awesome. Super
Yeah.
innovative too, and I mean, like you're a trailblazer, bro. Like you're doing things that nobody else at least especially for me, like I didn't even realize like yeah, we hear the things, right?
Yeah,
The F-150 story, yeah, seller finance stuff, but like taking over
yeah,
people's payments, I never even thought to do that, right? And then I'm like, oh no, you can sub to literally anything. You want a boat, you want a plane, you want a car, like we can do this thing. And it's
right.
like just expanding your mind even further, right? Like first time I heard about sub to, like my mind is melting and like what this is possible, and
Yeah,
then that
facts.
like it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Like yeah, it's
Yeah,
crazy. And it's like now we're so spoiled, right, with what the knowledge that we have. I don't, any of my close friends that know about this space could never go and get a traditional bank loan ever again on anything. Why would
yeah,
you? Because you don't like, there's so many other, yeah, it makes zero sense. Like, I
yeah.
think another like paceism, right, is like, if I go get a loan to pay off your loan, the only people making money
Okay,
is the
make money.
bank, right? And so,
Right.
like, use that line all the time. And it's so good. It's true because it's like, there's no value that they're providing to you. It's just, it's more barriers for entry, keeping people stuck where they're at. You can't really elevate. And so, if we can offer solutions to their problems, like what you're doing with your hub model, like that's super impactful, dude. Love it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And to like to add to that too, bro, like I think one of the biggest things that we see, the system worked for a little while, like the traditional idea of going to a bank and stuff like that, because
Right.
most people don't want to overthink something, or
Yeah.
most people don't want to, like people love being spoon-fed. Convenience is the tool, but convenience is a way to feed people into a straight line hamster wheel. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for
Like,
sure.
like I think with Pace, what he did with Sub 2, at least for like a lot of us, and for myself
Hmm.
at least, is that like he opened the mind up to be like, you know what? These are the levers that make up this wheel.
Right.
If I go behind the curtain and just tweak this and tweak that, I don't need this and don't need that. Matter of
Right.
fact,
Shortcut.
I'm not the only person that is quote unquote smart enough or dumb enough to figure that out. Everybody can figure that out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like
Yeah.
just you educate yourself just a little bit more. If you
Totally.
know how to deal with an interest rate and how to AM schedules work and how to deal with title and what the loan and the mortgage is. You know what I'm saying? Like the
Yeah.
deed, the trust, like all of these different. Just learn it, easy stuff. You can manipulate and make any kind of deal you want. So I think
Totally.
like with the time now, like there's no choice but
Yeah.
to learn creative. Like there's no choice but to peek behind the curtain and figure this stuff out. So
A
I
hundred
think that
percent. Yeah. If you're not willing to pivot and adapt, you're gonna die. Like
right.
there's no way around it, right? And so it's kind of like you said, like people want to be spoon fed that convenience, and it's really the only thing they've ever heard, right? It's kind of, you got to break out of the matrix, right? There's other ways to do things. It's not, you don't have to follow A, B, C, D, E, F, G all the way down the line. Like we can cut corners, we can get to places quicker and
Yep.
utilize other things that people have done for us
Yep.
along the way to scale. And so, yeah, dude, I love that. That's awesome. So, I mean, as we're starting to wrap up, like if you think back on all the success, the failures, everything that you've gone through in the last 5 years in this space, if you were
Mhm.
going to talk to like a brand new investor or maybe even yourself back like right when you were starting back in 2020 getting into wholesaling, like what's one piece of advice that you would give your younger self before you started and jumped in here?
Do not go alone. Hurry up and find somebody who's successful and add every bit of value to them.
Yeah,
Be a part of the team. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't go alone. Just don't make
that
sense. You waste a whole lot of
100%.
time. Find somebody who's doing what you're doing, figure out what they need, and add to them so you can be a part of a team and move faster.
1,000%, bro. I couldn't agree more. And that was
Mhm.
that was my biggest hurdle too, right? Like I don't know if it was ego or if it was more like
Ego, all it is,
imposter.
bro.
It's ego or imposter syndrome. They all kind of come back to the same thing though, right?
Right,
But it's like
right.
if I would have just went and leaned on somebody that's I saw doing the thing that I wanted to do, man, I would have
Mhm.
shortened that time frame in like a tenth. We would have had a deal in a
What?
couple weeks, man.
You
Like
feel me?
it's crazy. It's crazy. And that's how I built my team out now. Like bringing
Mhm.
in newer folks and trying to get them to like make calls for us and door knock and do the things. So it's like I can hold your hand through this system and let you just cut through all the noise and let's get to that check the fastest. So then you can
Yeah,
get it out of your brain that, oh, I haven't done a deal yet,
right,
right? Because I
right.
think that's another huge barrier for people is that they see all these checks, they see people selling cars and boats and all this stuff, and it's like I don't even know where to start. It's like,
Right.
well, just go grab onto somebody that's already running, man. Like
Yeah,
you can
yeah.
do that, and so like being in communities like we are in Sub Two and Owners Club more specifically, like with these
Mhm.
huge go givers that are willing to share their knowledge and the battle scars that they've gotten along the way, like it's invaluable.
Yeah. Hundred
Yeah,
percent, 100%, man. And I'm definitely thankful for the communities that are built that you can just tap into. And, if, at any point, it's like if you let that ego get in the way, if you let that like, oh, I got this, or I could do it all, I could be bad all by myself, like you're gonna sit there and be stagnant as I don't know what. Everybody gets back into the same corner. You
Yeah.
might mess around and get lucky and
Right.
find a needle in a haystack. But if you want to bet your life odds on that, you do your thing, bro. If you
Yeah.
want to, what I'm saying, like move fast and really make something out of yourself, make something happen, find a team, go together, go far.
Absolutely, dude. I love that. That's so good. Well, cool, man. Really appreciate you coming on and sharing your story. If somebody wanted to reach out to you with some questions just about basic creative finance in the house game, buying and selling cars, like where should they reach out to you? Socials, phone number, whatever you want to leave the guests.
Yeah, for sure, man. You can reach out to me on Instagram and Facebook at Mike Will Close It. You can also reach me directly 443-243-2806. Any questions about vehicles, any questions about real estate closing, if you need a property closed, you need help negotiating with a seller, whatever it may have you, we're gonna get you the best deal. We'll make it happen. Reach out to me. My line is open.
Amazing. Thanks again, Mike. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah,
Thank you,
appreciate
everyone, for sticking along for the whole interview. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. Leave some comments down below. Some nuggets that Mike dropped here. Um, would love to read those and get back to you. So until the next episode, we'll catch you later. Peace.
it. Peace.